few seconds. And Brian, if you can just confirm that you are presenting item 2. I have Hector on my list.
Yes, I will be presenting today.
Great, thank you. Item number 3 through 5 is Seffi Wiles. Good morning, Seffi. You should receive that invitation to join us at this time for items 3 through 5. Item number 6, Nadir Shah. Good morning, Mr. Shah. You should receive that invitation as well to join us as a panelist for item number 6. Item number 7, there is no presenters on item number 7, and then item number 8 is the LA Metro team on transportation projects. Again, item number 1, Patrick Schmidt, are you on the line? I do not see him on the line. Gary Lamb, just in case, heads up, we don't have the presenter on item number 1, Patrick Schmidt, on the line. Gary, your line has been open for audio. Are you prepared to present for Patrick in his absence?
I am not. Patrick was trying to get it. Sent an email. Let me see if we can get him in.
Okay, no worries. Let me go ahead. If you can reach out to Patrick Schmidt and see if we can get an ETA. We should get started in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. At this time also, if you are a Bureau representative joining us this morning, should the board have any questions for your Bureau, we'll open up those audio lines for you. Again, this is for Eva Sung, Mary Jane Meir, Janet Tran, Seffi, and Gary Lamb. Again, thank you for joining us this morning. And should the board have any questions, we will open up the audio lines for you at that time. I'm going to move forward with item number 8. The LA Metro team, if you are on the line, if you can just raise your hand at this time, I will go ahead and add you to our panelists. Again, you can raise your hand by clicking the raise hand icon if you're on Zoom, and if you're joining us by phone, you can click *9. Johanna, good morning to you. I'm sending you an invitation to join us. Mr. Antonelli, Matt, good morning to you. Michael, you'll also receive that invitation to join us, and Sydney. And Johanna, if you're on the line, should I make you co-host to share your screen for the presentation?
Yes, please.
Great, I'll go ahead and do that. And Johanna, just one thing, as I make you co-host, you can go ahead and accept the invitation, and then the only thing I will ask you is do not click the end button, the red button. That will end the call for everyone.
Okay, thank you.
And just a quick last roll call for item number 1, Patrick Schmidt. We are trying to get started in the next 3 minutes. Item number 1. Gary, if Patrick Schmidt is not on the line for item number 1, we can ask the board to consider it towards the end of the meeting. And if he does not join us, I can ask for a 2-week continuation.
Okay, that'll be fine. I'm trying to reach him by cell phone right now.
Okay. We'll give him a couple more minutes. We should get started in about 2 minutes. And if not, I will ask for a 2-week continuation just for you to coordinate, or I can do September 14th or September 21st. Do you have a preference? Okay.
I'm sure Patrick would like to have it sooner than later, so.
Okay, let's go with let's go with Wednesday the 14th if he's not on the line.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
At this time, we're going to go ahead and identify callers from the general public that are on the line that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9, or if you're joining us through the Zoom application, there is a Zoom raise hand icon located towards the lower right-hand side of your screen. You can click that icon at this time. Again, this is for members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon. Seeing only one hand raised at this time, we'll go ahead and identify the caller. Hi, good morning, Harvey.
Yes, good morning. I'm Harvey Goodman. I'm the, hopefully I won't have to speak on item number 2. I'm the private engineer, and this is an application for a tree removal permit. So I'll just stand by in case there are any questions regarding it.
Okay, and Harvey, you're you're the developer, you're the applicant.
I'm the applicant's representative. I'm the private engineer.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and send you an invitation to join us as a panelist, and I will let the president know that you're on the line should the board have any questions for you, and if they do, you'll be able to speak automatically. So I'm going to send you an invitation now to join us as a panelist. And thank you again, Harvey, for joining us this morning. We'll move on to the next caller on the line that has raised their hand, Silva Blackstone. Good morning, Silva. Which item would you like to speak on?
This is general public comment.
Great. Thank you for joining us this morning. I will go ahead and add you to the general public comment queue as soon as we get started. We should get started in about 30 seconds to 1 minute. Thank you,
Okay,
Silva.
thank you.
And last person that has raised their hand, Jim Cohen.
Yes, I'm with Metro.
Oh, okay. We were taking public comments right now, so let me go ahead and add you as a panelist at this time.
Thank
You
you.
should receive that invitation in about 5 to 10 seconds. There you go. Thank you. Okay, last call for any members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can raise your hand by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon. Seeing no other calls besides Silva, we'll move on and test the video cams and audio equipment for our commissioners. Good morning, commissioners, to you, and I believe we have all commissioners in the boardroom except for Commissioner Reyes. Good morning, Commissioner Reyes. Let's test your audio equipment for us.
Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you loud and clear, which is
Thank
great.
you.
I am going to spotlight you for everyone, Commissioner Reyes, and I will also spotlight our boardroom. And I believe we had Dr. Davis, but he just walked out of the room. President Garcia, we had Dr. Davis, but he stepped out. Would you like to wait a few minutes or establish quorum? We'll wait a few minutes. Okay, thank you. President Garcia, I can get started with the recording.
Yes,
And then if
please.
you want to just test your microphone, there you go. Thank you. President Garcia, you are now in record mode.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call this morning. We have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, Commissioner Corzan, and Commissioner Reyes. President Garcia, you do have a quorum at this time. President Garcia, we do have one caller on the line under general public comments. We have no commentary under the neighborhood council comment section, and we have no callers on the line for items 1 through 8. Again, we have one caller on the line for general public comment.
Great, thank you very much, Dr. Campos. Given that we do have a caller for public comments, we can take public comment now.
Absolutely. Sylvia Blackstone, if you can go ahead and unmute your microphone at this time. The Board of Public Works is considering general public comment. You'll have 2 minutes to speak under this segment. Please go ahead. Sylvia Blackstone, if you can hear me, if you can please unmute your microphone at this time by pressing *6, or you can click the unmute button. You'll have 2 minutes to speak under this category.
There you are.
There you go. We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, commissioners and Dr. Ramos, Campos. I said it wrong. I'm here to speak to you about the actions of the Urban Forestry Division in our neighborhood. And the trees, the 2 pepper trees, sentinel trees, were removed on South Avenue 66 sometime in the last month. And Mr. David Miranda had sent emails saying that the community, the council office would be consulted regarding replacement trees. Instead, the Urban Forestry Division went ahead and planted their choice of the replacement trees, which were desert willows, which are dormant in the summertime, and that was the wrong time to plant the trees. And they did not consult with anybody. They just went ahead and planted these trees. So I would like to object to that and say that you commissioners are being shortchanged by the people, the personnel from this division. The last meeting I attended, they said they were removing a group of trees in the West Los Angeles area. And when the commissioner asked what kind of trees, they said they were substantial trees. They were crepe myrtles. Crepe myrtle is not, in anybody's imagination, a substantial tree. So I think the commissioners are having the wool pull over their eyes by people from this division. And they seem to ask the right kind of questions, but the answers do not match up with the questions. So I would just like to object to that the fact that the community was not consulted, and David Miranda sent
2 minutes.
emails indicating that the community would be consulted, and they were not consulted. Thank you.
Thank you, Silva. Madam President, that does clear out the queue for general public comment.
Great, thank you, Dr. Campos, for that, and thank you for public comment. For today, public comment is officially now closed. And we're moving on to the approval of minutes for Wednesday, August 24, 2022. Is there a second to my motion to approve the minutes? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to approve the minutes of Wednesday, August 24, 2022. Forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis. Dr. Davis, if you can turn on your mic.
Davis, aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Corzan
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Reyes, I love our hybrid testing. And so, I know, I was actually excited to see that we're testing it out, and it actually works pretty well. So thank you for that. And you look lovely wherever you're at, Ms. Reyes.
It's Shasta, Lakehead. There's lots of smoke though because of the fire that has been here recently.
Oh, wow.
111 degrees. So enjoy a little bit cooler place there.
We'll enjoy our 107 degrees.
Wow. Yeah, the new normal nowadays. You gotta stay indoors.
Thank you, Ms. Reyes, for being out there. Dr. Davis, would you like to do the retirement recognition now?
No, we are
Skipping?
rescheduling it for
Okay,
later.
rescheduling, got it. It was
Today-
still on the
yeah, yes,
agenda
yeah,
for
not
today.
yes.
Okay. The retirement recognition has now been rescheduled for a new date. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 1 on today's agenda. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering in Council District 4 for a construction order in Wood Drive, 13375 West, Bulkhead Project, Clark Contracting Corporation, Emergency Pre-Qualified On-Call Geotechnical Structural Construction Services List, recommending the board to, 1, approve a construction order in the Inwood Drive, 13375 West, Bullhead Project to Clark Contracting Corporation in the amount of $602,244 with a not-to-exceed limit of $722,692, including contingency, and 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the construction order after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And we have Mr. Patrick Smith here today.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, President Garcia. So as you stated, this board reports to award the Inwood Drive project near address 13375 West Inwood Drive to a contractor on the emergency pre-qualified on-call geotechnical structural construction services list. This board reports in the response to an urgent need to restore lateral support to a portion of this roadway, which is located in a residential area in Sherman Oaks. The location is approximately a half a mile southwest of the intersection of Dixie Canyon Avenue and Ventura Boulevard. At this location, the northeast side of Inwood Drive has settled and migrated in the downslope direction. The movement and settlement has inversely impacted approximately 100 linear feet of the street. It has encroached up to approximately 8 feet into the roadway. And as a result of this settlement, the pavement is cracked and uneven, and the unusable width of the roadway has been reduced. This project will construct a new bulkhead to restore lateral support to the existing road. The new bulkhead will have a length of about 110 feet, be approximately 6 feet high, will consist of 14 soldier piles with precast concrete lagging panels. In addition, will include a concrete curb, gutter, grade beam on top of the bulkhead, along with a metal beam guardrail. And the project will also include reconstruction of the damaged pavement in the area. On June 2nd, 2022, bids for this project were solicited from the contractors on the list in accordance with the executed contracts. On July 13th, 2022, 4 bids were received, of which Clark was a low bidder. Clark's bid in the amount of $602,244 was 6.7% below the city engineer's estimate of $645,510. The BOE staff recommends that the board execute construction for this project with Clark in the amount of $602,244 with a not to exceed limit of $722,692, including contingency. Funding for this project will be available in the SB1 Road Maintenance Rehabilitation Fund on the reappropriation of the year-end funding sweep and an additional transfer of funding associated with the second construction progress report. This concludes this board report, and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for that thorough report on your request. Dr. Davis, do you have a question for Mr. Smith?
No, none for me on this item.
Great. I do not see any other lights on, means,
Sorry.
it's okay, means no questions. All right, since we don't have any questions, colleagues, Commissioner Reyes, any questions on your end? Got it. All right, since we don't have any question, is there a motion on the table to move this item forward?
So move.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. A second by Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos is the first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
Yes, we'll start the voting tabulations now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis. Dr. Davis, is that an aye?
Oh, I'm sorry, aye.
Thank you. That's an aye. Commissioner Corzan
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Campos. Thank you, Dr. Smith. I'm sorry, Patrick Smith. Well, maybe you are a doctor. I don't know.
No, I'm not a doctor. Thank you, President Garcia, Commissioners. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Have a good week.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, moving us on to item number 2. This is a request from the Bureau of Street Services in Council District 11. This is a tree removal at 11700 through 11706 West Sharnock Road, recommending the board to 1, find that the project is categorically exempt under Section 15303, Class 3A, Section 15332, Class 32 of the State Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and that there is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. 2, find that none of the exemptions of the use of the categorical exemption, my God, as set forth in Section 15300.2 of State CEQA guidelines apply. 3, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is the custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And 4, review and approve this tree removal permit request for the removal of 3 beefwood trees for the construction of new sidewalk, curb, gutter, and alley intersection. Tree replacements are required. And we have today Mr. Ramirez here. Hello, Brian, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning,
President
welcome.
Garcia.
Tell us what you're doing at 11700 West Sharnock Road.
Definitely. So, again, my name is Brian Ramirez with Streets LA, Urban Forestry Division, and I'm presenting this item today. I did want to take the time, President Garcia, to request that the record reflect an additional recommendation, and that is to concur with the Bureau of Street Services determination that the site cannot feasibly accommodate all of the required replacement trees, and pursuant to LAMC 62.177C, authorize that the tree replacement guarantee fee to satisfy the board's tree planting requirement.
Is that the end of your report, Brian?
No, this is the recommendation. So the actual report reads as follows. 1485 PH LLC are currently constructing 6 4-story small lot homes at 11700 through 11706 West Sharnock Road. The site is located at the southwest corner of McLaughlin Avenue in the community of Palms. Pursuant to the Department of City Planning letter of determination, the developer is required to install a new alley intersection and reconstruct the existing alley and install new sidewalk, curb, and gutters along Sharnock Road. Construction of the 6 residences is in progress with foundations already poured and the buildings already erected, and potential alternatives to redesign for tree preservation are currently not an option. A Streets LA arborist inspected the site on April 1st, 2022 to address potential impacts to street trees adjacent to the project site. The inspection revealed 4 beefwood trees adjacent to the project site. 1 beefwood tree growing at 11700 Sharnock Road on McLaughlin Avenue side will be preserved in place. 2 beefwood trees are growing at 11700 and 11706 West Sharnock Road, and 1 beefwood tree is growing at 3606 South Berry Avenue on Sharnock Road. The trees are in fair condition. measuring approximately 24 to 34 inches in diameter by approximately 30 to 50 feet in height, and they are growing in an unimproved parkway. The two trees growing at 1170 and 11706 Sharnock Road have outgrown their current growth space within the respective unimproved parkway. Taking into consideration the tree's large root system and the totality of the proposed construction impacts, Streets LA have determined that the required street improvements would severely impact the tree's root system, requiring extensive root pruning, and it would significantly and adversely affect the tree's health and the tree's roots' structural integrity, leaving them potentially unstable. The third tree is located on the adjacent property to the west at 3606 South Berry Drive on Sharnock Road, and it is growing under power lines. It is continuously topped by Department of Water and Power for high voltage clearance, and the tree will also be severely impacted by the required improvements to the alley intersection and installation of curb and gutter. Therefore, construction of required sidewalk, curb, gutter, and alley intersection repair work will require removal of 3 beefwood trees. As it pertains to alternatives and options that we have explored, the Streets LA Urban Forestry Division endeavors to retain healthy mature street trees whenever possible, and will only consider removal of mature street trees after all alternatives for tree preservation have been considered. A UFD arborist met other Streets LA representatives to discuss the proposed sidewalk, curb, and gutter repairs and address impacts to the affected street trees. Potential alternatives such as sidewalk reduction, driveway width reduction, even ramping over the roots were discussed, and due to the project scope, the size, the species, and condition of the trees, the possibility of tree preservation or relocation is not feasible. The most prudent course of action is to remove and mitigate the 3 trees to allow for proposed improvements as required in the conditions of the issued letter of determination. As it pertains to the conditions, if approved, the applicant shall plant 2 24-inch box-sized Brisbane box Leuphostemon confertus trees along Sharnock Road, and the 4 additional trees needed to meet the board's 2-to-1 tree replacement policy. They cannot feasibly be planted on site due to spacing restrictions. Therefore, pursuant to LAMC Section 62.177, the applicant shall pay the tree replacement guarantee fee for each of the 4 trees, totaling in $7,780. Pursuant to LAMC Section 62.176, all replacement trees planted on site shall be watered for a minimum 5-year period after planting. As it pertains to CEQA, again, this CEQA is categorically exempt, and there is no evidence that the exceptions to the use of categorical exemptions applies. As it pertains to the notifications, the 11th Council District, they were informed of the tree removal requests on June 9th, 2022, and they were to notify Streets LA of any objections received by their office. Also, the trees were physically posted with a public notice on April 1st, 2022. The proposed tree removals were also included in the Street Services tree removal notification system, and also the Community Forest Advisory Committee and Department of Neighborhood Empowerment were also notified. So this concludes my presentation, and I make myself readily available to answer any question that the Board of Public Works may have at this time.
Thank you, Brian, for that very thorough report as well. Can you clarify again for me how many trees, this is going to a street in lieu, right? Because we can't plant them on site. Can you clarify for me why we cannot plant them on site? And by the way, colleagues, we also have Mr. Goodman here, the developer, on the line if you want to ask him any questions also. But Brian, can you just, for the record, state why we can't plant trees back on the same property?
Correct. So the 2-to-1 replacement policy that we uphold, we replant on site wherever there is adequate space for trees to be planted. At times, in this particular case, There are driveways being installed to give access to the residential housing units, which restrict the amount of total potential planting spaces for us. We also have to maintain certain distances away from intersections. We take into account distances away from existing streetlights, water meters, and things of that nature. And this is how the recommendation to only plant 2 trees is being presented at this time.
I see. Is there any like strategy upcoming to build more canopy on that, around that area?
We have the NLUFI. Well, we'll ensure that canopy is replaced within these given council districts and areas. So again, the Streets LA will take this NLUFI, and we will be the ones performing the tree planting in the community and ensuring that additional trees are planted to meet the board's 2-to-1 tree replacement policy.
Okay. Okay. Colleagues, any questions? Dr. Davis?
Yeah, you did confirm that we have the support of Council District 11?
My report stated that the council district was notified of this project, and we did not receive any objection or issue or concern as a result of that notification.
Wonderful. Now, in addition to that, we don't have any other concerns raised by any other interest groups as it relates to this tree removal, do we?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis, for that. I don't see, City, Ted, do you want to make a technical correction on this?
I do, if the board's ready, if the board is done with its questions, I do have a recommendation for a technical correction in the recommendations. Recommendation number 1 finds the project is categorically exempt under Section 15303, Class 3A, and Section 15332, Class 32. As a technical correction, I would delete the reference to Section 15303, Class 3A. That's a categorical exemption that we often find applicable in the construction of single-family homes. However, that exemption does not apply on this project, so I would delete that reference. The reference to Class 32 is the same class that the planning department found when it took a look at this project, and it continues to apply as stated in the report. So bottom line, delete Class 3A.
Thank you, Ted, for that. So just to confirm, it's a 5th recommendation, Ted?
I'm sorry?
Was that a fifth recommendation, or is just a clear?
It's in recommendation number 1
Okay,
of the agenda and on the report. And I would agree, I would concur with the staff's recommendation that they stated at the beginning, which adds that determination regarding the replacement trees. So my recommendation is limited to the CEQA action being proposed here, and that is to delete the reference to the Class 3 categorical exemption. That
okay, so
exemption
your
does not apply.
recommendation is to delete the recommendation of Class 3A, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we are deleting Class 3A on recommendation number 1. Any objections, colleagues? Vice President Villegas?
Is that, only 3A and not section 15332?
Correct.
Okay.
The reference is section 15303, comma, Class 3A. So that is the part that should be deleted.
Okay,
The 15332, Class 32 does apply and should not be deleted.
okay. So we are striking section 15303, comma, Class 3A. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Dr. Campos, on recommendation number 1, once we get to that, I want to make sure that we strike section 15303, comma, Class 3A. No objections from the commissioners. Okay.
And just for the benefit of staff, of course, if the board were to take the action today and they prepare a notice of exemption. Of course, the notice of exemption should also not include that Class 3A.
Okay. I don't,
That's something that staff takes care of, should we move forward today.
okay, I don't see it anymore.
They don't, that's just a reminder to them
Okay.
to continue.
Brian, did you capture that?
Yes, I did. And I will ensure that the notice of exemption reflects the determination made here today.
Correct. And for the record, Brian, can you state your fifth recommendation that you called in the morning, earlier on your report?
Sure. The fifth recommendation was that the board concur with the Bureau of Street Services determination that the site cannot feasibly accommodate all of the required replacement trees, and pursuant to LAMC 62.177C, authorize the tree replacement guarantee fee to satisfy the board's tree planting requirement.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Dr. Campos, do you need me to restate that, or I got a
No, I've captured it all. I've captured both potential amendments.
Okay. Any objections on recommendation number 5, colleagues? Hearing none. Commissioner Reyes, no objections. So we will add recommendation number 5 to item number 2, which is board concur with UFD and that the site does not feasibly allow any other planting trees. So we authorize a tree guarantee fee, right? And that's a total amount of like 7,000 something. You stated it earlier, Brian. Sorry, I didn't capture it with me right now.
Yes, if you need me to repeat, every tree that cannot be planted requires an in lieu fee of $1,945, and the total of the 4 trees that couldn't be planted is $7,780. And this may also be a good time to point out that the species of the trees that are selected by urban forestry is in accordance with section 62.161 and section 62.162 of the municipal code, clearly stating that the board, through its authorized officers, shall have charge and direct and supervise planting and all of the tree operations. I just wanted to shed a little bit of clarity on the public comment that was made.
Sure.
So this selection, again, is made on best management practices. We take into account the space that's provided to a tree and the species that's recommended. So again, I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, thank you, Brian, for that. All right, colleagues, any clarifications or objections? Questions? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith with the additional recommendation number 5 and with the technical corrections made on recommendation number 1? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
I second.
I'm going to take Commissioner Corson and Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson and Commissioner Reyes to move item number 2 forward and forthwith with the amendment of recommendation number 5 and the technical correction on recommendation number 1.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. At this time, we'll start with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis, Commissioner Corzan,
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Campos. Brian, thank you for your report and for your Q&A that we had with you. Appreciate that and look forward to making sure we do move forward with our in lieu fee for this project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the week. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 3. I believe 3, 4, and 5, right, Dr. Campos? We can take those together?
That is correct, yes.
Great. And we have, this is from the Bureau of Contract Administration and the Bureau of Engineering, Council District 8. This is a contract acceptance North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 1 Van Ness Avenue to Western Avenue, recommending the board to, one, accept this contract. Item number 4, this is also a Bureau of Contract Administration and a Bureau of Engineering request in Council District 6. Contract acceptance, Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant, Electrical Power System Modification, CIP 6163, recommending the board to, one, accept this contract. Item number 5, Bureau of Contract Administration and the Bureau of Engineering in Council District 6. This is a contract acceptance at Donald C. Tillman Chemical Line Upgrade, CIP 6204, recommending the board to, one, accept this contract. And here we have today Ms. Sefi Wiles joining us. Good morning, Sefi.
Good morning, President Garcia and Commissioners. We'll start with item number 3. The Bureau of Contract Administration recommends to accept this contract that was executed by this board October 2nd, 2017 in the amount of $7,407,340 even, under contract number C130203, bond number 167652, awarded to Mladen Buntic Construction Company, Incorporated. The project provided for the rehabilitation by lining of 2,200 linear feet of 78-inch semi-elliptical brick sewer pipe from the alley at 41st Drive west of Van Ness Avenue to approximately 165 feet east of St. Andrew's Place along 41st Place. The project also provided for the removal and replacement of a junction structure at the alley, abandonment of a double rectangular brick sewer also along a 41st Drive, and slip lining through an existing diversion structure at 41st Drive and Van Ness Avenue, as well as the construction of a new trap maintenance hole. The contingency for this project was $370,367 even, giving an authorized budget of $7,777,707 even. 7 change orders were issued, decreasing the contract amount by $657,325.23, bringing the total cost of this project to $6,750,014.77. The project was completed at 8.87% below the awarded amount and 13.21% below its authorized budget. There were change orders exceeding 5% of the original contract, so therefore adjustments were made to bid items to reflect the actual quantities installed and required reconciliation per final closeout change orders number 8, adopted by this board in August of 2020. Final corrections were completed on January 15, 2020, and all monies were released to the contractor. Final release of $196,437.50 in disputed funds were processed on June 1, 2020, 17 progress payments made. Therefore, there's no funds disputed or withheld and nothing due to the contractor. These funds came from Fund Number 75N, Appropriation Number 50 PASW, as well as the Wastewater Capital Improvement Budget. The contractors complied with the equal employment and labor compliance requirements of this contract. All of the minority business enterprise and other anticipation levels were achieved. As this was a PLA project, the contractor met and exceeded the PLA requirements. Local hire achievement, 30%, they achieved 39%. Local apprenticeship is 50%, they achieved 75%. And transitional worker, 10% achieved was 22. Therefore, the Office of Contract Compliance, Labor Compliance Section has reviewed the files and confirms that there are no issues. There's also no issues unresolved with respect to property owners' complaints in connection with this project. That concludes item number 3. Moving on to agenda item 4, for the DCT Reclamation Plant Electrical Power System Modifications. This project was also a PLA awarded, executed by this board on May 12, 2017 in the amount of $7,479,460 even, under contract number C129307, bond number 167377, to KDC Incorporated, doing business as Dynalectric. The project basically was provided for conversion of the existing 4160 volt loop type power distribution system installation of new duct banks and with respective cabling, temporary portable trailer-mounted generator set up during the course of switching out the switchgear, and removal and replacement of 2 existing 3,000 ampere switchgears with new switchgears. The contingency amount for this project was $373,973 even, giving a total authorized budget of $7,853,433. On January 18, 2018 and September 13, 2019, the board approved increasing the contingency funding of this project by $717,000 and $524,000 respectively, giving the revised authorized budget of $9,094,433 even. There were 49 change orders issued, increasing the contract amount by $1,388,932.68, bringing the total cost of the project to $8,868,392.68. The project was completed at 18.57% above the awarded amount, however, 2.49% below its authorized budget. These the change orders were resulting from unforeseen conditions with underground utilities, such as duct bank obstructions, requiring more excavation and the need for additional cabling. Also, the contractor had to rent large generators for 4 months due to the plant's transformer failure. All final corrections were completed July 20, 2020, and all progress payments were released via progress payment number 28 on June 18, 2021. Therefore, there's no funds disputed or withheld or due the contractor. These funds were also provided from the Wastewater Capital Improvement Program budget, the Wastewater System Paper Construction Fund, Fund number 70W, Department 50, as well as the green bonds. The contractor has complied with all equal employment and labor compliance requirements. All of the anticipation levels were met, as well as this contractor also met and exceeded the PLA requirements. Local hire was 30%, achieved 43%. Local apprenticeship was 50%, they achieved 75%. And transitional worker was 10%, and they achieved 13%. There were no unresolved property owners' complaints in connection with this project. That concludes item number 4. Lastly, agenda item number 5 for the DCT chemical line upgrades. This contract was executed by this board July 14, 2017 in the amount of $832,000 even, under contract number C129763, bond number 167459, to JF Shea Construction Incorporated. The project provided for the removal of 2 existing sodium bisulfite facility pumps, replacing them with new recirculating pumps, the installation of a new circulation line to the secondary clarifier effluent channels, and the installation of 6 new automated valves and flow meters. Programming to provide this new upgrade to the plant control systems to monitor and automate the sodium bisulfite to the plant's treatment process. The contingency for this project was $166,400 even, given the total authorized budget of $998,400 even. On March 13, 2020, the board authorized an increase in the contingency funding of this project by $400,000 even, giving a revised authorized budget of $1,398,400. There were 21 change orders issued, increasing the contract amount by $566,368.61, bringing the total of the project to $1,398,368.61. The project was completed at over 68% above the awarded amount and just below the authorized budget. These changes were due to additional functionality needed for the chemical station, that was not part of the original scope. The project was also held over for a year as the design was in process. Additionally, there was issues with the installation of actuators and whatnot. So final corrections were completed June 14, 2021. All monies owed the contractor were released. Therefore, there's no funds disputed or withheld or due the contractor. These funds were from the Wastewater Construction Fund, Green Bonds, Department 50. The contractors comply with the equal employment and labor compliance requirements of this contract. They've met in all of their anticipated levels, and therefore there's no unresolved property owners complaints or anything outstanding with this project. And that concludes my 3 reports. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sefi, for that very thorough report on all 3 items. Just confirming there are no, like you said, no objections, nothing outstanding on all 3, and we closed out each project with no opposition. Got it.
That is correct. Yes.
Perfect. Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, any objections? Seeing none, is there a second to my motion to approve items 3, 4, and 5? I'm going to take a second from you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to move items 3, 4, and 5 forward and forthwith.
Yes, we'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted, approving items 3 through 5. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Campos, and thank you, Sefi, for your time and report. It was good seeing you. Have a good rest of the week.
Good week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 6. This is in Council District 11, Construction Order, Myron Electric Construction Corporation, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, Emergency Division Maintenance Annex Facility Rehabilitation, CIP 2515, recommending the board to 1, authorize the execution of the construction order for this work to Myron Electric Construction Corporation in the amount not to exceed $2,140,000, including contingency. And we have Mr. Shaw here. Mr. Shaw, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioner and Board. Nadir Shah, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. The board motion is for the Capital Improvement Project, CIP 2515, Emergency DMA Facility Rehabilitation, which will be undertaken at the Division Maintenance Annex or DMA facility located at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. The DMA facility houses the locker rooms and restroom facilities for the plant maintenance staff. The scope of work under CIP 2515 includes installation of electrical equipment, conduit and wiring, concrete pad, and repairs including structural concrete, mold and lead abatement, drywall, and other necessary repairs. To give a background of this project, due to the July 11, 2021 spill event that occurred at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, the DMA facility had severe water damage, including damage to this facility's electrical equipment. The BOE requested and received via email authorization from Commissioner Caloza to initiate CIP 2515 and use the emergency pre-qualified contractors for emergency repairs and construction services list with the not to exceed amount of $150,000. The contract was offered and accepted by Myron Electric Construction Corporation, who was at the top of the list of 8 contractors. On September 24, 2021, the BOE received an emergency authorization from Commissioner Caloza for additional funding in the amount of $580,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $730,000. Subsequently, the board adopted the same amount on January 7, 2022 via the board motion. On March 23, 2022, the board motion requesting additional funding in the amount of $770,000 for a new not to exceed total of $1.5 million was adopted by the board. This additional funding allowed the contractor to perform the unforeseen work discovered from the structural and environmental assessments. On April 14, 2022, the board discovered what appeared to be an extensive amount of mold on the drywall of the DMA. This triggered the need for an additional environmental assessment, which determined the need for mold abatement and drywall replacement. Furthermore, the building and safety plan check required additional resurfacing of existing slab, dwelling, and epoxy anchors for the new concrete equipment pad. Currently, the BOE is requesting authorization from the board for additional funding in the amount of $640,000 for a new not to exceed total amount of $2.14 million. This additional funding will allow the contractor to restore the DMA facility completely. This includes the remaining mold abatement, drywall replacement, structural repairs, and facility lighting repairs. BOE moved that the board authorize the execution of the construction orders for this work to Myron Electric in the amount not to exceed $2.14 million, including contingency. This concludes my report. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw, for that report. Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none. Just a quick question. Is this still part of mitigating from our incident a year ago?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you very much for that. All right, colleagues, I see no questions. Any objections? Hearing none, seeing none. I don't see Commissioner Reyes' hands up either. All right, is there a motion on the table to move item number 6 forward and forthwith?
So move.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 6 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Shaw, for your report. And you're good to go now.
Thank you, Commissioner and the board.
All right. Have a good week. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 7. We do not have a presenter on this item. This is on all council districts. The mayor and city council have approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Sanitation to execute the proposed amendment number 5 with responsible biosolids management for the beneficial use, loading, hauling, and transporting of biosolids. Is there any objections on this item? Seeing none. Is there a second to my motion to approve item number 7?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by VP Villegas to approve and adopt item number 7.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. And lastly, we have our oral report for the day. It's we have the LA Metro team is here with us. Transportation projects update, Metro and Department of Transportation. So we can have LA Metro come. They can start whenever they're ready.
LA Metro team, if you can just turn on your video cam, we can go ahead and spotlight you for those that are joining us on Zoom. There's Mr. Antonelli.
Mr. Antonelli, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
I still see you surviving, so you're good.
I'm hanging in there.
I know. I remember when you came in. I see, you lost a little bit of hair. All right, I'm ready when you're ready, Mr. or whoever wants to kick it off from your team.
Well, this is Jim Cohen. I'm assumed that Sammy would be on board, but why don't we?
I'm here.
There he is. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I was mute. So we start with region connector. Matt, you want to kick it off?
Great.
Yeah,
Good morning,
absolutely.
sir. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. Matt Antonelli, project manager for Regional Connector. Giving you a quick update on where we stand as a project. Just to recap, a lot of this is old information, but you know, I think the key is that we're looking at our progress. We're up to 97% complete. We are getting to the end. It's obviously a struggle at the end of any project, and we're making it through. Hopefully, to get to revenue service here this calendar year and fall of 2022 is still our goal here, to be open for revenue service. Go to the next slide, please. Looking at each of the station sites, hopefully you will all see some improvements here from the last report. Looks a lot more like a transit station now with the architectural treatments and canopies. We're heavily into the testing phase of the project and installing all of the equipment and devices needed to be tested out for public use, like speakers and fire alarms and cameras, etc. So you see a lot of progress there with the canopy and final concrete on the ground there, and moving along in the Little Tokyo Arts District station. Next slide, please. Moving on to Broadway. Broadway is still a little further behind than the other two stations, but we are focusing on the plaza level now. You start to see some of our concrete being installed. Elevators are going to be tested out here shortly. That's like a big step for the project, and we still have some utility work in that area, which I'll get to later in the presentation, but we are progressing there as well. Go to the next slide. You'll see the Grand Avenue Hearts Bunker Hill Station. This station is furthest along of the three, remains that way. You can start to see some of the final artwork and glazing in and around the station plaza, into the all the way down through the station into the platform. This station is coming along quite well. A lot of the focus now is going to be on the pedestrian bridge and tying that into the Broad, and that will remain for the next couple months. But overall, this station of the three is the furthest along and well on its way to being ready for the project. Next slide, please. Focusing on Flower Street now. There's been a lot of work on Flower Street. Hopefully you all have seen some improvements there. We have submitted the letter to BOE to get some street closures on Flower Street on the weekends. And that's a big step for the project. That's for our final restoration, final paving and striping from 3rd all the way to 6th. And so what that will do is allow us to remove all of those work zones that have been out there for years, in and around 4th and Flower and 5th and Flower, open the lanes back up for the public and really get out of that area. We will have some work to come back to on 6th and Flower. We anticipate later this year. And once that's done, we'll be able to final cap the rest of Flower South beyond 6th Street. This plan has been communicated to all the stakeholders, and everyone's very appreciative of us phasing the work this way in order to remove those work areas, and this will be a major milestone for the project to get off of Flower Street there. Next slide, please. So talking about upcoming street closures, Flower Street, we still have to come back and do the final cap. As I mentioned, we are going to be asking for some weekend closures there in order for that to happen, both for the paving and for the final striping. But that's no closures, no new closures, stuff that we've already done before. It's just implementing once more time. AT&T, if you all remember, I had presented here maybe a couple quarters ago about AT&T working around 2nd and Broadway. We did run into some issues with permits. It delayed some of the AT&T work. We are still looking at getting that done. The major closure there would be on 2nd Street between Broadway and Hill. We come back to you all and explain that in more details as we get closer. We are working with the city and DOT to making sure that we understand what that closure looks like and be able to present that effectively. But that's probably going to be closer to the end of October timeframe. And then future paving for future weekend closures for paving project wide. We are working with, and we have worked with the city, both BOE and ConAd. We walked the site with ConAd and really kind of focusing on what those paving limits are. We have that agreed to, and now we're starting to put that plan in order to start repaving. But I just to be clear, as we focus on revenue service this year, and even if we are able to achieve that goal, there will still be some street work up top, right? That's going to be remaining. The focus right now is to get the stations built out, and there will be some underlying street restorations that will be done afterwards, depending on what kind of tie-ins we need to do and how we phase traffic control with not only community events but holidays. And so that plan will be coming to you all in the future. And then the one more street closure that will need to be discussed with you all is southbound Flower between 1st and 3rd, right along our Second Hope station. That's been open to the public. We had northbound shut down for I think a few years now. And now that northbound is constructed, we will have to close southbound and lower that profile. We had talked about this in previous meetings about tree removals along that and why that profile needed to be adjusted. So that request will be coming to you in a future date as well. And I'll be happy to discuss that more in detail. Next slide, please. I don't know if Olga's on. I didn't see her name. But Olga and the team continue to do an outstanding job meeting with the public. We, in all of the both public groups and stakeholders that have concerns, been able to continually try to address those as we get them, and really working with the stakeholders along the entire alignment to make sure they're heard and that we're making sure that everything's going the right direction. Next slide. And do we have from Biff on?
Yes, Eric Chun with LA Metro. So Metro's Business Interruption Fund provides financial assistance to small mom and pop businesses that are impacted by Metro's transit rail construction. We define a small mom and pop business as a business with 25 or fewer full-time employees. The BIF is currently applicable for the following construction projects: the Crenshaw LAX Transit Project, the Purple Line Extension Sections 1, 2, and 3, the Little Tokyo area of the Regional Connector Project, and for the work that formerly occurred on the second Broadway segment of the Regional Connector. As you can see on the slide, for the Little Tokyo area, as of August 19, 2022, 106 grants have been awarded, totaling an amount of about $2.2 million. And for the second Broadway segment, 36 grants were awarded for a total amount of $950,000.
Thank you. And I believe that's it for Regional Connector. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Great. Yes, give us a second. Vice President Villegas, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your report. Really appreciate just all the details. Just wanting to know all the street closures that you mentioned, just taking care of the logistics, excuse me, not little. Those are all in queue with BOE already?
Yeah, they've all been in discussion outside of the southbound Flower one. That one has not, that I'm aware of. The plans have been incorporated with BOE. We know what the plans are. The plans are approved, but I don't think we've gone through the traffic control side of that yet with DOT. So that still is coming.
Okay, all right. And when are you all looking to do the closure for the southbound area on Flower?
Yeah, I'd have to talk to my team and also talk to the city on that. I mean,
Okay.
at earliest that it could happen would be probably like November timeframe. So we're getting into the holidays. So I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to commit without talking to the full team there, getting the full understanding of the constraints there.
Okay, no problem. I
But
appreciate
I'd be
it.
happy. I'd be happy to have that conversation with my team and debrief you if you would like.
Sure, that'd be good. Yeah, before, the southbound side on Flower, before you guys
Yes.
submit it for like later this fall.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, VP Villegas. You guys are making a lot of segue. I really like how, last time I think you didn't show us the stations or how they looked, and this time it actually has structure in it now, which is really nice to see. On all three of them, I believe, so good for you. Yeah, they all look very nice. I'm really looking forward to see the additional infrastructure that you're building, the cross bridge or the pedestrian bridge that we leading into the, I know you said the Broad, but it really leads into that area. And then I'm not sure, I think I read sometime last year that the Broad was moving, so whatever else is coming, then will be for that as well. So really nice. I'm looking forward to that new structure here in downtown.
Very good.
All right. I don't think we have any more questions for you, Mr. Antonelli. We hope to join you as you start ribbon cutting a lot of these new stations, and we hope to be there with you and celebrating on these iconic features.
Absolutely.
I have
Absolutely.
one
Look forward to it.
question.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, my question is for the LA Metro on the Business Interruption Fund. Do we ever circle back to the grantees as to the, the impact of the grants and what other, that reported or integrated into a report?
Mr. Antonelli, were you able to capture the entire question?
Yeah, I think the question you were asking is how we circle back with the grantees and seeing what the impacts are with regards to the funding and the grants that we've been able to hand out. Is that the question?
That's the question, and if they have any other challenges economically because of the closures.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer part of that, and then hopefully Eric, you're still on. We can answer maybe the second part. But the closures are very defined as the work that's in front of their buildings, and so that as that's happened, we've been able to reach out and deal directly with those. So once the closures are picked up and the work is localized into the station, then that program doesn't necessarily apply to those stakeholders in the same way, right? So if there's a street closure in front, and so luckily for our project, we haven't had any major street closures that have been in front of these businesses in some time now. We've been really focused on the stations and building those up, and so that does help with the community aspect. I don't know if there's a report on Eric. Is there a report on how the feedback that we've gotten from those individual stakeholders?
I'm not sure about that, but that's something I can look into and get back to you.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Yeah, that would be actually very interesting to see, especially now that you're closing down, you're getting close to closing down this project.
Absolutely.
Great. All right, seeing no other questions for Mr. Antonelli, thank you so much for your work, and we look forward to celebrating with you soon.
All right, thank you. Good seeing you all.
Yes. Have a good week. All right, the Purple Line. And who do we have for the Purple Line?
Hi. Jim Cohen.
Yeah, this is Jim Cohen. I'm the project manager for Section 1. The slide you have up right now is just a snapshot of our project. Starts at Wilshire Western and ends at Wilshire La Cienega, just under 3 miles, and 3 brand new underground stations. Our progress right now is 79% complete. Next slide, please. You sure there wasn't one on La Brea? Did we miss one? One more time? Okay, we'll go here. Maybe they got them in a different order. So here's a snapshot at Fairfax Station. The upper right photograph is the entrance structure on the south side of Wilshire. We're finishing up the walls, and we'll be starting for the shoring to put the roof section on there. The lower right photograph shows the block wall on the concourse. The block wall is set up in the non-public areas, creates the rooms for all the electrical, mechanical, and all the rooms that were required to maintain the station. And the lower left photograph shows the false work being removed. Fairfax Station, we have completed all of the arch roof sections, and that formwork that you see there is now being disassembled and removed out of the station. Next slide, please. We have no street closures coming up for the next 6 months. All the streets are open. We do have intermittent lane restrictions, but no full street closures. Next, please. Business Interruption Fund. Eric, do you want to take this, please?
Sure. So as of August 19th, 2022, along the Purple Line Extension Section 1, 267 grants were awarded for a total amount of $6.6 million.
And before we go on to the next slide, I guess I'm missing the slide on La Brea, but I'll just tell you what's going on there. At La Brea, we are actually started the street restoration on the north side of Wilshire Boulevard. We are currently replacing the bus lane, curb gutter, and sidewalk. That will continue. And then as soon as the north side is complete, we will be shifting traffic onto that fresh pavement and bus lane and complete the south side. So as far as La Brea, that's our most advanced station. All the utilities, at least from La Brea East, are completed, and we've started the street restoration. Also, in addition to note at La Brea, we've started the permanent power. LADWP, their room has been turned over to them. I think it was 2 weekends ago, they dropped their or lowered their equipment in for their room, their switch gear, and we have DWP out now actively bringing us the permanent power, which will allow us to run all the equipment and start testing out. But that's still a few months away for them to finish. But the good thing is that their room has been provided to them and they are on site. As far as the physical construction at La Brea Station, we have a few roof sections left on the extreme west end of the station. And after we get those 3 roof sections complete, the overall box will be complete, but we'll still be working on the entrance structure on the north side, just west of La Brea. Next slide, please. Okay, if we go back 1 slide, is there any questions on section 1?
Any questions, colleagues? Nope. No questions at this end for now.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On our next report, if you don't mind bringing some updated pictures on the Wilshire and La Brea, the one that you missed on today.
Yes. I don't know what happened in the translation. The thing I'm looking at has that slide. It just didn't make into what was provided here. So I apologize for that. We will do a little more quality control before we come up to make sure all the slides that we created are actually there.
Perfect.
Okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you. Just want to make sure we have a thorough report all the time.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for your work as well, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.
All right.
So we move to section 2. Mike McKenna, the project manager, will provide the presentation.
Great. Thank you.
Good morning, President Garcia and Commissioners. Section 2 of the Purple Line is the next 2.5 miles of the extension, with most of the alignment in the city of Beverly Hills, but more than half of our work occurring within the city of Los Angeles and Century City. And we're about 54% complete on an earned value basis. Next slide, please. Now, I know the commissioners and I know the board is familiar with the work site in Century City, but for members of the public that might be watching today, you can see before you the Century City Constellation Station footprint, which is roughly at the intersection of Avenue of the Stars and Constellation Boulevard. And we have staging yards throughout the Century City area supporting the work that's ongoing. We do have a neighbor to the north that has a construction project underway. That's the Constellation Park development. And that's a project that we are coordinating very closely with. and also coordinating with the City of Los Angeles to make sure that the combined traffic impacts from both projects are not impacting the local community and businesses. Next slide, please. So the entire tunnel alignment, well, not the entire tunnel alignment, maybe 90% of the tunnel alignment is in the City of Beverly Hills, but all the support for the tunnel work is out of the City of Los Angeles. So we are approaching, and hopefully by the next quarterly update, we'll have some great news that both tunnel boring machines will be complete on their drives. But we're approaching the end of tunneling with our tunnel boring machines on section 2. We have about 1,000 feet to go on one machine, which is about 3 city blocks in the City of Beverly Hills. So that machine is about 1,000 feet west of east of Robertson right now. And then we have another machine that's about 1,000 feet behind that, so about 6 city blocks to go, and that's approaching Robertson. So you can see on the key map and the inset on the upper left the location of both of those machines as they approach the tail tracks that are west of the La Cienega station on section 1. So we expect one machine to reach the end sometime in the month of October, and the second machine will reach the end hopefully before Thanksgiving. Next slide, please. So work continues on the Century City Constellation Station. I believe at our last update, we briefed you on some ongoing storm drain and sewer relocation work that was required in the Avenue of the Stars vicinity of our station box. That work is getting closer to being complete. And so from the photos, you can see most of the excavation that's been occurring within the station box has been occurring east of Avenue of the Stars. We're about 50% complete with the excavation. We anticipate that will be done in the early portion of calendar year 23. So not too far off in the future. And that'll be great because then there'll be a lot fewer trucks hauling dirt out of Century City once we bottom out in the early part of 23. So that work is going well. You can see from the photos it's pretty dry, which again is good for the trucks that are leaving the Century City area. Next slide, please. So update on current street closure requests. There are no street closure requests that will be going to the board in this calendar year. There'll be a continuation of ongoing lane restrictions within the Century City area that are very well coordinated with DOT and the adjacent property owners and adjacent construction. Next slide, please. And Eric, I guess you'll take this slide for me.
Yes, so on Purple Line Extension Section 2, as of August 19th, 2022, 134 grants were awarded, totaling an amount of $3.6 million.
I believe that's our last slide. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Great, thank you for that. Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none. Thank you for the section 2. Just a quick question. When do we foresee this being completed, section 2? And you probably said it, and I apologize for that.
So right now, our forecasted revenue service date is near the end of 2025.
2025, got it. Is that aligning with section 1 also?
Well, section 1 will open before us, and then we'll have to tie into the operational line on section 1, but it'll be fairly close. I think within a year of section 1 opening.
Okay, understood. 2025, great. Thank you. That's not that far from now, by the way. We're almost near 2023.
No, the objective is to finish the 3 sections prior to the Olympics. So the objective is to finish them by 2027 and about, to be able to open the entire line prior to the Olympics.
Got it. Thank you for that. All right. No questions on this. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the week.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So section 3, Kimberly Ong.
I'm afraid Kimberly Ong sends her apologies, Sammy, and commissioners, and also President Reyes. So I'm Matthew Crow. I'm Kimberly's deputy, so I'm the deputy project manager for Section 3. So just obviously remind you where Section 3 is. It's the last section of the Purple Line from Constellation Station, where in Century City that Mike McKenna was talking about, and it runs 2.5 miles through Westwood UCLA station to the Westwood VA Hospital. Obviously, the design, we're almost done. You know, we're just putting the finishing touches on the approved for construction plans. Maybe the last 3% might be the hardest, but we're still almost 100%, which is great, I think. Overall project progress, we're just over 40% complete. Obviously, our budget remains unchanged at 3.6 billion, and the question you're about to ask at the end, which we'll say now, the revenue service date is forecast for 2027, as Sammy said, which will be in time for the Olympics, to save the athletes having to walk too far. Next slide. Okay, I guess the tunneling, let's talk about that. That's a separate contract with Frontier Kemper Tutor Perini. Both tunnel boring machines have mined beyond Wilshire Boulevard. So if you recall, the tunnels have really been along you know, the Wilshire Boulevard and public streets. We're now tunneling what we call cross country, for want of a better term. The tunnel boring machine Iris, or the BR TBM, that is the purple triangle. That has mined over 9,330 feet, which is 68% of the tunneling, and is now around Thayer and Rochester Avenue. So it's in the thick of the lovely residential area of this part of Los Angeles. Tunnel boring machine Aura, or the BL machine, that's mined over 7,950 feet, and that is now again cross country, and is actually, this slide was produced a few days ago, is about around the Cross Reads West Home. So we've just finished tunneling underneath those apartments and condominiums on Wilshire. So production, just has got the statistics here. I guess the word steady production is what people might use. So you can see it there. The BR machine last couple of weeks, you know, around the 40 feet per day average, and the BL machine 30%. Not 30 feet a day. One of the reasons for the BL being looking a bit tardy is before we actually went to do the cross-country work, they did a whole bunch of maintenance on the TBM to make sure it was in tip-top condition before tunneling underneath those buildings. Got some pictures here. This is, if you look at the photograph there. You can see what looks like gold there is it's actually the tail seal brushes. So what you're looking at here is the back of the TBM, and they're basically, that's just showing we were doing this some maintenance on the machine to make sure things were in tip-top condition. So that's obviously very important. Next slide. Okay, so moving to the stations contract, that's Tutor Perini O&G, the two stations. So the first station, which is obviously mostly within the city, some of it's actually in state property, but mostly in the city. We completed the supportive excavation piling for the main station box, so that was a nice big event. And the other thing, perhaps the most possibly this year, actually, the most exciting thing that has happened. And this was not without a great deal of work and support from the city on this, in getting LADOT particularly, in getting all the details of the traffic management done and approved ready for construction, because obviously Wilshire Boulevard here is one of the, I think it might be one of the busiest streets in the world. It's certainly very busy to me. On the weekend of the 26th, we had a not a full closure. We had lane closures. We still kept the one or two eastbound lanes running, but we had a weekend closure from 9 p.m. through to first thing in the morning. And as you can see from this picture taken from our spy camera, it's showing that we got some of the decking done, the far western end of the decking. You can see, I guess we call 4 panels. You can count the 4 things there, and which is great news, getting that done. And thanks for the support from all the city staff, not only on the days we were doing it, but also the weeks and months beforehand to make this happen. There's an incredible amount of moving parts in this, and thanks for that. The other thing, we're continuing along with putting instrumentation and dewatering wells. The other work that's going on is you can see the picture on the left-hand side. It's a picture of an ATM machine at Chase Bank. You think that's not very interesting? Well, the reason why I put that there, we've been doing, over the last couple of years, we've been doing a major remodeling of the 10921 Wilshire Boulevard. That's owned by the Muller Group. We've been working hand in hand with that organization, and we've obviously done a massive remodel with the LA Fitness. But then the big milestone is Chase Bank have moved from their old premises, which is where our northeast entrance of our station is going to go. And Chase Bank, after the nice remodel, they've actually moved into the new location, which is again within the same building. But this will allow us to then demolish the existing Chase Bank and build our northeast entrance. So that's a nice milestone, nice looking bank. So very nice. And then on the southeast entrance, we've been just trucking away with the planning and design of the reconfiguration that has to be done for that building. Again, working very well, having regular bi-weekly coordination meetings with that building owner. Next slide. This is, I guess it's a bit off the, it's not in the city, but obviously you're interested in this because it's part of the Metro project. But this is the work on the VA campus. It's obviously federal property. And just give you an update what we've been doing there. The major bit of the work has been this relocation of the steam tunnel for the hospital. That's the facility that provides sterilization of instruments with steam, cooking of food, and heating. So it's a mission critical utility for the hospital. So the major heavy civil engineering work for the relocation is completed. That's building the new steam tunnel, the concrete structure for that. We're doing the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing fit out. That's in progress. What we're talking about there is pipe racks, pipes, and then ventilation and lighting and fire life safety systems. We've completed hanging this relocated steam tunnel. This is to allow for the future, the upcoming station excavation. If you look at the bottom left, you can see the picture of this large concrete structure or pipe, and then hanging from this bridge structure. The other thing is we've got to construct a redundant system. It's basically so if there's any kind of belt and suspenders. So if there was any damage to the new facility while we're doing our construction, they've still got a redundant system. So that is ongoing, and obviously it has a steam line and then a condensate line, which basically brings back the hot water back the other way to be heated up and turned into steam. The other thing that's been going is we had a major relocation of Southern California Edison. that involved construction of a new duct bank, some overhead power lines. So that's all been completed. SCE came and pulled the wires and overhead lines, and that's been energized. So that means we can demolish the old facility that's in the way of the project. The other thing we've been done is there's a large 12-inch water line which supplies water to the hospital. We've relocated that, and the water service has been cut over. So that again allows for the demolition of the old pipe that's in the way of our project. And then more drilling and of dewatering wells continues on the project west of Bonsall, which is the far west of the station box. And I guess picture on the right is just showing, I guess it's representing the final throes of the heavy civil engineering work for the steam tunnel, and really shows the magnitude of this. So this is one of the vaults for the steam tunnel. So I guess equivalent would in the sewer world would be a maintenance hole. So you can see the size, and it's just showing, you know, the backfill around that vault, showing that, you know, that the major civil infrastructure of the steam tunnel is completed. Next slide. So looking at schedule, this is UCLA. We still have, you can see, you think, why haven't we completed all the utility relocations? There's a couple of utilities that are going to be relocated as we're doing the decking operation. So that's why it's still dragging along there. The piling is still shown because we've obviously, as I said before, we've completed the piling for the main station box. But when we demolish the Chase Bank, we obviously have to build piles for the main entrance. So that's why that drags on. Decking, as you can see, we started, and the plan for that is to obviously finish as soon as we can. We didn't quite get started when we'd hoped, so we are going to drag into the holiday season, and with obviously support from the city, we'd like to have a holiday moratorium exemption for completion of this weekend work, and we'll be working with your staff on this to see if this is achievable. Obviously, once we've got the decking done, we'll start doing excavation of the main box, and then following with the rest of the project. And again, just to repeat, we've got the revenue service date is forecast for March 2027. Next slide.
So, although Metro's board of directors authorized inclusion of the BIF in February of 2019, grants have not yet been awarded for this section of the project. Just to give you a summary for all of the Business Interruption Fund grants for all of the projects as of August 19th, 2022, we've awarded over about 543 grants, totaling an amount of $13.4 million to 198 businesses.
And I guess on that, again, apologies, the project manager couldn't make it. She had a conflict. But if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them.
Thank you very much for your report. I do not see any questions from my fellow colleagues, and I know Commissioner Reyes had a Wi-Fi technical issue, so hopefully if she's back, we'll be able to capture if she has any questions. But I do not see any questions from any of my fellow colleagues at this time. All right, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our presentations.
Oh, okay. Well, we miss seeing you guys. I hope that eventually you can come and do a presentation in person again like we did 2-3 years ago. But this is all exciting, and I'm excited that we've gotten this far. I didn't see you report, or I didn't hear any report on the Crenshaw line. I know that that's been now, kind of settled. Can you just tell us where we're at on the Crenshaw line?
Sure. The Crenshaw line, the construction is done. We issued substantial completion to the contractor. We transferred the custody of the project from the contractor to Metro. and it's in the hand of our operation department. They are training the operator, familiarize themselves with the equipment, and preparing for the line opening this fall. So no more street closure, and no more the issue with the contractor, the ongoing issue for construction. So that's where we are with the Crenshaw project.
Great. Look forward to taking a ride on one of those newly installed Crenshaw lines. So we hope to get our invitations as commissioners here. But other than that, I really appreciate that. And I just want to make sure that you are still working with Bureau of Street Services on the Crenshaw line on repairing and reconstructing back our sidewalks.
Yeah, I think we're done with this. I think what they're waiting for is the as-built drawing, which is the contractor has yet to submit completely, and that would be the last piece that we owe LA Street Services, I believe.
Okay, great. I'll connect with Street Services too as well to see where we're at on their end.
Sure. If they have anything, they can give me a call, and we'll follow up.
Will do, yes. All right, anything else, colleagues? Seeing none. Thank you so much to the LA Metro team. We look forward to hearing your updated report in the next 3 months.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good rest of the week.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, colleagues, and Dr. Campos, have we cleared today's desk?
Yes, you have.
Great. And with that, we are officially adjourned today, September 7th at 11:45. All right. Right on time for lunch.